over here at No Swear Manor, it's fall, and during the fall, Kevin Loxley will be hosting a series featuring games that have things that fall in them. And in today's game, drop targets are going to fall, and that game is Bumper Bash for your Atari 2600, featuring a very nice shiny label. Let's go ahead and take Bumper Bash, pop it in my Atari 7800 Pro system, and see how it holds up today. Let's go to the game. Bumper Bash was published by Spectravision and carries a copyright year of 1983. It is also one of the last games Spectravision released for the 2600. It was made by David Lubar, who also made the Atari 2600 light gun game Sentinel, which I reviewed in episode 314. The manual opens with the following: "Great news for pinball fans! Now you may possess your own pinball machine and enjoy your game leisurely at any time. Although you might lose the thrill of cheating the machine by shaking it, you can have a fair play. It is a genuine test of your response, your eyesight, and your judgment through manipulating a set of flippers." Bumper Bash is a pinball game for one player and has one standard level of difficulty. For each game, you get 5 balls, and you use the buttons on a pair of paddle controllers to control the flippers, with the button on the left paddle activating the left flipper and the button on the right paddle activating the right flipper. When the round starts, you use the left paddle button to lower the plunger and the right paddle button to raise the plunger, and then you press both buttons at the same time to launch the ball. As you'd expect, the goal is to keep the ball in play as long as possible while racking up as many points as you can. On the top, there are 3 rollovers, which when you roll over them, one of them will reveal a letter and the word ace. The first time you spell the word, 2 ball kickers will appear on both sides to keep the ball from draining out. If you spell the word ace a second time with the same ball, you get an extra ball. There are 2 sets of 3 drop targets on both sides of the play field. If you knock down all 3 targets on the right side, the value of the pair of bumpers in the middle will increase. The second time you drop them all, the value of the top center bumper will increase. The third time you clear all of them, a bonus will be granted when you hit the rollover buttons that look like 3 lines stacked upon one another on the board. After that, when you clear them, the left rollover letter will be revealed. When you drop all the targets on the left side, you'll increase a multiplier. When that multiplier reaches 5, if you drop all the targets again, you'll reveal the right rollover letter. There's also a spinner in the middle that rotates the value when you roll through it. Hitting the rail bumpers on the bottom causes a flashing to switch between the sets of drop targets on the left and right. Flashing targets give you additional bonus points when hit. Scoring wise, you get 100 points for rolling over the top rollover where the letters are, 10 points for touching the various 3-line rollovers, 50 points for hitting the top bumper, or 500 points when it's flashing, 10 points for hitting one of the pair of bumpers, or 100 points when they're flashing, and 10 points per spin on the spinner, as well as 5 points for hitting the rail bumpers, and 100 points times the value of the target value for the drop targets. On the bottom, you can see how many bonus points you've earned so far, and the multiplier, as well as how many balls you have left. You get a bonus point for hitting a flashing drop target, going over one of the top rollovers that reveal a letter, or hitting a regular 3-line button rollover when the right targets have been cleared 3 times. At the end of each ball, you get 1,000 points per bonus point times the multiplier. Graphically speaking, the game looks like a very nice improvement over the original video pinball, but not quite as good as Midnight Magic, which would come out later. I must also admit that I like how the spinner looks like a TIE fighter when sitting still. The sounds of the game are fairly simple, but fit it very well. Family-friendly wise, there is nothing objectionable in the game, and I anticipate this game would get an E for everyone rating if released today. At the time I researched on eBay, including shipping, only 1 loose copy had sold recently for $45, but it's not uncommon for games to sell for $50 to $60 a piece. So what did I think of Bumper Bash? If you have followed me, you probably already know that I like video pinball games, and I had a lot of fun with Bumper Bash. Using the paddles actually enhanced the game, making it feel more like a pinball table. When I held the paddles, I did so with the knobs facing each other, so my left thumb operated the left button and my index finger on my right hand operated the right button. This worked really well for me. My only objection is that you cannot nudge the ball like you could in video pinball. It would have been very cool if you could have turned either paddle to nudge the ball a little bit, but perhaps this would have been more complicated in practice. It's also a little strange how the balls sometimes stick to your flipper when you try to stop it, but I was able to use this to help aim my shots from time to time. Overall, this is a very solid pinball title on the 2600, and one that I would put just under video pinball but above Midnight Magic. It's just a shame that it cost so much to track down. Rumor has it, it was only released mainly in Canada, so if you're one of my friends above the border, you might have an easier time finding it there. So where am I going to rank Bumper Bash? it's going to be somewhere in the top 30. I do like Kung Fu Master more at 29, but I will put it over the insanely difficult but enjoyable Gravatar at 30. So out of the 140 games I've now ranked on 2600, Bumper Bash is launching into the 30 position. Bumper Bash is both one of my favorite paddle games and pinball games on the 2600, but it's a shame that it demands a higher price. So what do you think of the game? Whether you agree or disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Also feel free to click the like and subscribe buttons and follow me both on the Facebook or the Twitter. I'm also a member of the Retro Junkies Network. At this time, I'd like to thank the extraordinary Gray Defender, not only for supporting the show through Patreon, but whose wife created the idea of reviewing games with Things That Fall this fall. Thank you, Gray Defender, and Mrs. Gray Defender as well. If you appreciate the work I do, please consider joining the League of Extraordinary Patreon supporters by signing up at patreon.com/NoSwearGamer. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time in the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care, and if you happen to come across a copy of Bumper Bash at a reasonable price, be sure to pick it up and try it out.